Chronicles.
Hi, I'd like to introduce Brown Boy Chronicles podcast for brown boys. Telling our story, just how we relate to the world, our struggle, our come up, and our life.
Our struggle.
Yo, let me ask you guys this question. Like, since we're all like kind of science engineer, we all taking like physics and stuff like that. So, think of it like a pendulum, like, you know, swinging at the bottom, going left to right. Essentially, you can calculate the next position of that pendulum if you have the initial conditions for the system, right? Like,
Yeah.
you can predict where it's going to be in 5 seconds
Yeah,
from now,
yeah,
10
yeah.
seconds from now. So, here's like my thing about this, where I was like trying to explain it when I think you were on that Clubhouse call. I feel like it's a little bit of mixed. I know that sounds stupid because they're very like conflicting ideas, free will and destiny.
Yeah.
Like, to me, when I look at it, like, if we ourselves are essentially a system, if there's like this computer that you can just put in the initial conditions, like, let me think of like some random initial conditions, like, oh, the fucking lunar cycle and all that other fucking bullshit that goes into what your life will be. Like, you have this initial conditions for the system that is like lucky thing. I feel like to a degree, like, if you know everything, like a computer can calculate what the next steps would be if we can find all the initial conditions that make lucky, you know, lucky. So that
I
way
agree.
you can predict like the subsequent steps. However, when we like think of like what we want to do, like in our mind, i- even if it's like predetermined, to us it seems like, you know, you are making the decision. Like, it's like in our brain, like whether it be predetermined, whatever your actions are, they don't seem predetermined, because like to you they're free flowing. Like, you, there's the synapse in your brain that makes your hand to go this way, your synapse in your hand to make it go that way. You're not thinking about, oh, like, that's predetermined. It's just, to you, that's just reality. That's just like in real time. So even if it's predetermined or if it's destiny, does it really fucking matter? Because at the end of the day, when you translate this shit to real life, you are actively living in it in real time, where it doesn't seem predetermined. It doesn't it seems free will. So like, where if you take the argument that I have about a system where it is predetermined, but then your actions make it seem like free will, like, does it really fucking matter at the end of the day? Like, you know, like, like, I know the question is just to like, is it like free will or like predetermined? But I was always like thinking about that. Like, if there's this, if you think of it as a system, that you can make the argument that it could be predetermined. But then I was like kind of being a devil advocate in my own brain. I'm like, but my actions at the end of the day make me feel like I'm free will. So I don't know. It's just like kind of confusing, like, to me. Like, so I was like, it doesn't really fucking matter at the, like, to me, like, because I think everything will feel like free will. So even if it's predetermined, your day-to-day actions just seem more fluid, because you're not thinking about the predeterministic ideas, or like, oh, KB's about to go bungee jumping. It's like you taking on the free will to do it, even if it's predetermined. I don't, I don't know
I
if that
like
makes
I
sense.
like what you said there with like it makes you feel like you have free will. Like that's
Wait.
cool. It's I remember when I was like a kid and like learning about all this stuff at like Sunday school and stuff. I remember when they said like, okay, God has already predetermined like what the course of your life is going to be, how you die, like what shit happens to you. But I think there was like a point where one of our teachers basically said like, yeah, but when they set the course, they give you like choices, right? And your actions kind of determine like the separate path you go on. So I guess there's like a bunch of different like plot lines, and you get to pick and choose based on like your actions, and then if whatever amount you pick that's right. Yeah, so like however many that you pick that's like the right choice determined by I don't know, whatever the higher power, that kind of determines what you end up being in your afterlife. So I think that whole but then some other teacher would say like, oh, but like big guy upstairs already knew that you're going to make that choice. So like the concept of human free will wasn't even like really a thing. It just, they like to make you think that or something.
So do you guys
I'm not really
believe,
sure where we're going with this, but
do you guys believe you can only die like one way? Like your death is going to happen just one way, like, or you can change the way your death is gonna happen by your actions.
I mean, you just said that your death is already like.
Yeah, but I'm
decided.
wondering about you guys.
Bro, I mean, honestly, I could like, yeah, facts. I could go like crash a car right now, or I could take a
But you
fucking knife to my heart
but
right
you
now.
won't. But you don't
I
think
mean, I
that's
won't, but like I could. Like, that's yeah. I don't know. This whole concept pisses me off because it's like, yo, we make choices every fucking day, right? It's like you're every fucking moment in your life is a decision, and it's like you gotta go this way and you gotta go that way. So I understand what D just I like how he described it. Like you have these multiple avenues that you may take, and they've already. I get that. Like okay, maybe they were predetermined, and then now you're coursing this way, then you swerve that way, then you swerve this way, and like you have like options.
But
But I
how do you
feel
know
like-
how do you know that's just not you like searching for some type of hope?
What hope am I searching for? What do you mean?
In terms of like, oh, you can change your destiny or you can change the way you die or whatever. Like how do you know that like whatever Deech is saying is just not you reassuring yourself that it's not like, oh, like I can control myself or whatever, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know, yo. I mean, honestly, I like how like Lucky put it into words. Like honestly, like maybe we just feel like we're in like free will because we make all these decisions on a day-to-day
Yeah.
basis. But I mean, honestly, yeah, like maybe shit is like already set in stone. But this is like a very
Yeah. Wait, so
difficult
Lucky,
topic.
when you said all that, right? You said like you feel like you have free will. So what is your stance? Because your stance is kind
I
of
think
like,
I think everything is predetermined, but our mind tricks us to thinking we have free will.
oh, okay. I do like
Because
that
I
stance,
just
though.
like kind of think of it as a system. But what I was
So
just
like
saying,
say you got rid of the concept of God entirely, would you still believe like would you still have these beliefs that things are predetermined? And who would make this predetermination?
it's a system, so it's just like initial conditions.
Probably not. Probably
like
not.
like I don't like that's what I'm saying. I can't dismiss the whole idea of God. That's why I can't be a full-on atheist. Like, but some higher power or however you want to quote it, like paraphrase it, like created these initial conditions for us. And if we had this quantum computer that could put in all the initial conditions for like Rinku, for KB, for Deech, and for myself, I have like just like using the pendulum analogy. I feel like to a like certainty, like you can predict your next moves.
So that's
However,
a simulation though at the end of the day, right? Is that not us just living in a simulation?
yeah, I think we are in a simulation, dog.
Good lord.
So,
Jesus
but
Christ.
yeah, but
Yo,
then
Lucky. I could see you really liking Westworld,
I love Westworld,
like
bro.
the concept of playing God or whatever.
Yeah, no, but then it just like
Yeah.
goes. I think it's all predetermined, but our mind tricks us. It's just like where like anything that happens in real life, like you think you are in control of your actions, like with and stuff like that. So it like even though it's predetermined, my actions make me feel like it's free will. So like I'm okay with it because I don't think any human would be okay with like listening to something. Like at the end of the day, no one really likes a boss. Like everyone wants to be their own boss, you know. So if like you knew it was predetermined, like that would just not work in life. So you have to like kind of create this facade of free will, even though it's all like kind of predetermined. I don't know. That's just how I view it.
Mm.
Okay, gotcha.
But I don't know. It's like a very like I can see both sides of this like arguments. So like
Yo,
I don't
guys,
know.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Yo.
Yo, you gotta fix your internet in your next place, bro, or
Yeah.
you gotta go on LTE.
Bro, dude, I got Comcast. Like, what internet you got?
What internet? Yo, he can't hear us right now.
Yo.
God doesn't want him to hear us. It's predetermined, you know.
Chill.
Should we wait for him to come back and connect?
God damn, you can't win in New York, man. I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. What
Yeah.
internet do you have?
Dude, I have fucking Spectrum, man.
What the fuck is that?
I heard that's awful in New York.
Bro, how you not got
Dude, yeah, I mean, well, there's Verizon and stuff, but like, I mean, I don't know. I think Spectrum was just the main one in my neighborhood. I don't know, actually. I think my one roommate transferred it from his last lease. But yeah, dude, you
Dog,
can't win
moving
in New
forward, you
York.
better get that FiOS, bro. You fucking yourself up with like. I'd
I
rather have like
will,
fucking
man.
no internet than slow internet because that shit's so infuriating.
For real,
Dude,
yeah.
I live with three. Every time we have people over, I like can only use one of my devices. That sounds so privileged, but whatever. We're so
Bro,
dependent on the internet now. I don't give a shit.
I really can't live without internet. Like my next, like if I get a house, like it's based on like internet. Like internet connection is gonna be a
We
big
definitely
thing.
need that gigabit, son.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
nothing less.
Google Fiber, you know. Do you think there are people that are inherently bad?
I think,
No,
I don't think
yeah,
so.
I think you gotta go through like
I
some
think I think
shit
it's I think
before.
it's all the thing about like nature versus nurture and
Yeah,
what you're surrounded by. I don't think that
how the chemicals in your
it's
head change,
predetermined.
and you'll be fucking. Yeah, you can fuck yourself up.
Dude, it's very hard to be like it's so hard not to be a product of your environment. And I respect people that actually like kind of like venture out of that mindset where like they're not like everyone that's around them. And when I was growing up, I felt like I didn't respect those people as much because I thought those were like kind of like weirdos. But now that I'm older, a little bit more mature, I wish I had that type of quality to like not succumb to like peer pressure or whatever, just to like kind of follow the crowd and do my own thing. Because I feel like I'm only now doing my own thing where I don't give a fuck about like what most people have to say, you know.
Dude, I feel like
And
Yeah, we
college
used to
definitely.
laugh at those people.
Yeah, college definitely helped with that though. I feel like everyone just did their own thing in college. At least that's how I felt.
I don't
I
know,
don't
man.
know.
I think that there was a lot of things that you still did as a result of like your environment in college. I mean,
I
obviously you
agree
become
with
more
each.
confident and more like grown up, but like you're still surrounded by so many other pressures that like, ultimately you will. But I think when you live alone, that's
Hmm.
when you could really kind of figure out like what you believe in, what you want to live your life like, and what kind of people you want to be around. I don't know, environments and shit. I don't know.
No, I
But I
completely
know what
agree
you're
with
talking.
each.
Well, Lucky, your point when you said like there was kids that like they stood out to the mob or whatever. I think my little brother's like one of those people. Like he was always just like. I mean, he's said was he is just like a very blunt person, but he was never like affected by other people's opinions on whatever he said. So like there was like a teacher or someone who said like he like or I think like my brother had like an interview with my friend's like boss or something, and my friend's boss told my friend that what he said, like he asked him a question, my brother answered it completely wrong, but he said his answer with his chest out, and it was a different way of thinking about it. So it was like you don't have that kind of like people usually like if in those kind of situations if they're wrong they try to find a way to like sound less wrong or
Yeah.
like I don't know fix up for their mistakes later, but like it's so hard to just completely say a statement and deliver it and then stand by it forever. I don't know if he stands by it forever or whatever, but like those kind of people that you find in society who are just like so open about their thoughts and like not afraid of how it'll be perceived, those are rare to come by.
Honestly, like that's like no, I I think that's like probably one of the reasons why I probably like the social group I'm around where like I started like cutting people off. Like I agree with your original point. Like you have to be alone. You have to be truly alone to kind of like figure out what you're really about, what you actually want to do versus like what you're doing because it'll make you perceive a certain way in front of other people. And you only figure that shit out when you're truly alone and by yourself, whether it be living alone or whether you're just like have nobody around to talk to or, just complete isolation. That shit is so rare to come by because like with how social media is and just like how we are, I feel like you have to like behave a certain way. Like Instagram, for example, like I feel like you have to like do like some sort of thirst trap or like, you have to like kind of present yourself in this like limelight where you aren't considered a loser or some shit like that in the eyes of masses. And that slowly is like removing individuality from everyone. I'll say this for myself, like I've considered, like create like posting certain like, type of pictures that might like get more likes and shit like that. But then like you know, and I'm sure to it subconsciously I do that. Whatever I find funny, I'm like, oh, other people probably find funny. So let me do this, you know, blah 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 blah. But the whole individuality thing is kind of slowly like eroding away because everyone's slowly becoming the same fucking thing.
I
And
feel like we're all extra, and I feel like I'd rather be extra than basic.
See, you know how I know Harvey's extra as fuck right now? It's 12:30 and he's sipping, bro.
are you drinking?
Yeah, the black label porn, yo.
It's
God damn,
12:30
bro.
and he's sipping, bro.
To go back to our original point, like it's like I know we like ventured out of like the whole God is real or not, like the whole not talking about sociology, but isn't that like kind of weird to like think about? Everyone's trying to be the same, but at the end of the day, we respect people that are unique and like are gravitated towards them. Like so,
I mean, I feel like
Dude,
I feel.
sorry.
You think it has to do with like just like insecurities?
Yeah, self-confidence. I firmly believe that. People aren't self-confident. They try to be like people that they think are confident.
Yeah.
That's my
That's true.
opinion.
Do you think it's possible to be like truly unique nowadays though? Like I understand like right, like you're saying like we're all like unique in our own ways too, but like at the end of the day, like I mean I have to sit down with myself and like you also have to think about like we also like are heavily influenced by like a lot of things on a day-to-day basis too, right? Like I mean we're all like Drake fanboys and like I feel like Drake plays like a pretty big factor into my life. Like
What?
Motherfucker makes the nothing was the same
Yeah.
post every 2 weeks,
Bro.
yo. If there's a fucking blue sky, nothing was the same is coming up.
Nah, but like you know what I mean? Like it's just like I mean, yeah, for sure we're unique, but like there's influences that are just like constantly just like subconsciously like make their way into our lives, and I feel like I don't know, like if you live like in the fucking cuts and like you just like are surrounded by nothing, then I feel like maybe yeah you can be like honestly like truly unique, but in a way I feel like subconsciously we're all like low key swayed in like a certain way. But
I
then
mean,
it's like we add some like spice to it, you know what I mean? We throw some like flavor into
Okay.
Some
So,
some
like-
Indian into it.
it.
so I mean, I agree with I acknowledge your point. Like we're very like human beings and like our behavior is very impressionable. And but I was like what I was going back to was just like having an opinion. People are afraid to have their own opinions nowadays. It's just like it's
Yeah.
like what someone else's says rather than how you really feel. It's just safer to like go with what someone else has said than to like kind of say what you like feel about it, only because it might be a little divisive. That's what I was like kind of talking about. And
Yeah,
that goes
mob
back to
mentality.
social media where like my like uh, like example or Instagram post, like my type of like post might not be the same as like what other people post and might not get as many likes or some type of shit. Like if I were to like make a post or some shit like that, but that's just me what I think, like that's just like my opinion on not my opinion, my like take on art, I guess. I don't know what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah,
I
it
just
satisfies your needs. Like yo, like you appreciate it and you don't care what other. It doesn't matter
I,
likes in your eyes.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, I'm not trying to say like I'm fully like 100% unique or anything like that. I'm sure like subconsciously and not subconsciously, I think deliberately I still do like certain things because you have to be accepted. You can't like, you know, we all want some sort of validation from people. But nowadays I feel like the validation that people get is not really
it's
substantial.
dopamine. It's dopamine.
Yeah, it's not really substantial
Yeah.
because you're not being true to yourself. You're kind of
You're
like,
just trying to boost your dopamine to kind of feel better
Yeah.
about yourself, basically. That's why on Instagram you just gotta, you know, post every couple weeks, let them know you exist.
nah, fucking Instagram's still fucking toxic, yo. I'm so glad I can't handle that platform.
I love Instagram. I don't know.
I feel like it's what you make it. You know what I mean? You can't get
Yeah.
ingested by it either.
I don't go on Instagram. I just post like every couple weeks and we're chilling. That's it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person where I need to be like out of sight, out of mind, because if like I'm very impressionable as it is, so like if I see that type of shit, I feel like it's hard for me to be myself. So that's why I like kind of.
But what makes it hard for you to be yourself by going on Instagram? Like if you were to go on Instagram too much, what makes it hard for you to be yourself?
Because I think I'm still working on like figuring myself out, so I don't really have myself truly figured out yet. So like if I like going back to the things that I
Do
see
you
every day.
think you should have yourself figured out though? Like, isn't life just always about growing and like always trying to like
Yeah, but if I go on that platform, I feel like I'm de-evolving rather than evolving.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
But I don't know. That's just like how I view it. It's just like I have certain things I want to do, but like I don't want to be like my mind to be occupied by like, oh, this person's doing this person's like kind of like doing this.
Yeah.
Should I be doing that too? Like, and I know you guys could probably have a more of, I know KV's not that, like he's like, I don't give a fuck what other people do, and I'm gonna do like what I want to do. And that's why like I think I like fuck with you, is because like you're true to yourself, even though you're fucking petty and stubborn.
I'm
Like,
mad
like,
petty, yeah.
yeah,
I'm
like
a
you're
Leo,
true
so
to, yeah, true to yourself. But me,
Wait, are you really a Leo?
yeah, 100%.
Oh, that explains so much.
we're Leos.
Yo, Deej, you still here?
Yeah, bro, my bad. I was just ordering movie tickets.
Damn, bro. Thanks for like staying in like
Yeah.
the zone and talking to us about shit. I didn't know you were doing other stuff.
Yo, I feel like Deej, like I feel like you're not that prominent on like social media. So I feel like me and KV are like kind of like on one
Right.
side.
So here's my
And
thing.
I feel
right?
like Lucky and Deej are on the other side.
See,
kind
I'm
of.
only prominent on Instagram. I'm not on Snapchat.
No,
I'm
I'm
not-
saying like I feel
so-
like we have like the same kind of like I feel like we are like very similar in terms of how we treat social media, but
Yeah.
I think Deej and Lucky are like also
Right,
they're
so-
similar.
So I think a lot of what made me like interested in the arts and what kind of helped me like build some sort of like a rep was all due to social media and shit. But over time, it kind of took its toll. And I mean, especially during the pandemic, like I started getting so paranoid about public perception and shit. And like I noticed at the end of like the second half of college that a lot of the work I was doing creatively, I I catered it to my audience. And I still do that now sometimes too. I get disappointed if I put in like 40, 50 hours on a piece and it gets like 60 likes. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, you were confident when you're making this. You knew what your story was. Why are you worried about what all these non-creative people are thinking of it? But then I think to myself, then if nobody looks at it, then am I really bringing value with my creative craft? So I still struggle with that. But I mean, after college, I haven't used like my personal account. I don't think that people should know what you're doing all the time. I think that you should never reveal your hand, and you should always be a little bit more protective of your craft and like your daily life and struggles. But also like, I think it would be good to see when people are up shit's creek on social media. You know, like you always see good, and then you're kind of just thinking like, it always shows you the wins, and it just gets exhausting. But
That's like my main thing with Instagram. It's just like you just see too much of the good. You see too much perfection. And I think where I kind of like Snapchat a little bit more, because that's like the only media I use, it's a little bit more raw. It's a little bit more unfiltered, because it's not curated to be in certain like it doesn't need to like fit into a profile per se. I feel like on Instagram you have to like adhere to a certain lifestyle. I don't know. That's just like my like over generalized view of it. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
definitely
all
facts. I mean, Instagram,
Yeah.
I post like certain things on Instagram, and then like Snapchat's like my ratchet shit. Like,
see like
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I can't post like ratchet shit on Instagram, but like I'll post my ratchet shit on Snapchat for sure. Like, you definitely like played out like favoritism for sure.
But Deej,
Uh,
like going off
Yeah.
you though, like I feel like okay, you don't like the social media aspect, but like when you complete a project or whatever, like you do it for yourself, right? So anything
Right.
like the way I would see it, anything else that you post online or whatever, social media, is just extra. You already fulfilled your needs, right? You already fulfilled your satisfaction.
Yeah.
So like if you're afraid to post, I feel like you shouldn't be, because all that's just extra. You fulfilled your needs already, bro.
Right, that's
think-
true. But I think what it is I'm still at the position where I got to determine if I want my arts to be like eventually what I'm known for, and like a career or whatever, and if I want that to, I don't know, eventually give me enough freedom to like quit my corporate job,
Yeah.
then like the easiest way to do that is obviously through social media connections, like who you meet, whatever. But I don't want to be like, I don't think it's as authentic if you're just dependent on that. You know, like I think that you lose the quality of your craft, and No, you're absolutely right. Like I should be more like confident in like what I've produced because I know that I did a good job with it. But so much of like the way we're raised by like, you know, like a grade system or like a quantifiable measure of like success, like I mean every look, okay, I'll say it simpler, you know, like, I can't understand what I'm saying. So every time you get an A, that means you did a good job, right? Every time you did a C, you're like, what the fuck? And every time you get like an F, you're like, okay, you're nothing,
Yeah.
right? So I think I was raised in like most of us, like Indian people, Desi people, like whatever, like we're all raised in that like similar society where that's our
Strict.
quantifiable measure of value.
Yeah.
With something like art and something that's like so like, you know, like abstract, it's hard to find a like a metric of success. So I mean, if you're constantly like justifying yourself through like academic merits and stuff, how are you doing that through creative? How can you show someone else that you're doing that? And I think that's what I've been struggling with like most
Yeah.
of my life. Um,
I think a level up from that, I think at least I'm going through that like phase in my life. It's more so internal validation versus external validation. Like I want to do stuff that's like I get more from internal validation and kind of going off what Deech is saying. I feel like we've been all like raised and programmed through society, religion, or family to like view it from external validation. So it's like to kind of shift it to where it's solely internal and you're just very comfortable with it. It's very fucking hard, man, especially with social media and everything. And I'm struggling with that a lot too right now. It's just like am I like satisfied with shit? Like am I internally like does this like internally validate what I want to do? Like that's why like I wanted to do all these projects with you guys because I think I need to like working on like beats or stuff like that where it's just solely me. It gives me some sort of internal validation like okay, I'm moving forward in life or like I'm venturing out and I'm happy with the results. And and it's like a different for Deech because I think he's a little bit more invested in it than I am. But eventually, like, it feels good like when you say yesterday, like you fuck with the beat and stuff like that. That's external validation, and that's just reinforces more of the internal validation. So you can't really have one or the other. You need kind of like both. And but we've been so programmed to only look it from the external side rather than the internal side. I feel like your external is what pushes the internal out, where it should be the internal getting supplemented by the external. I don't know. Do I make sense? Like what I'm trying
No,
to say?
no, that makes sense.
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
and
Yeah.
I think ideally you would do that, but social media, societal pressures have just fucked up our mindsets a little bit.
See, I feel
And
like
I mean, that's a good reminder. That's a very good reminder that you should
I feel
stay
like I
true
have
to
that
your own self.
figured out
That's
for
so
the most
dope,
part.
though.
I feel like I have that figured out for the most part. Like I don't know. I just don't do stuff unless it satisfies my needs. Like, lucky when we're at Detroit, like you wanted to go to Detroit. I was like, it's raining. I really don't care about sightseeing Detroit, But like you wanted to do that so bad, but like at the same time, I've done this multiple times. It doesn't satisfy my needs. So if it doesn't satisfy my own like fulfillment, I don't do it. I don't know. That's just how I am though as a person. I feel like, and it's nothing against like people like I don't want to go do this with you or whatever. It's just like it doesn't satisfy me.
Sometimes you have to like kind of sacrifice your own
Yeah, it was raining though, bro.
pleasures. I know. I'm just saying, like, for like the greater, like for the group, like you can't like just be like, I don't want to do this because it doesn't fulfill me. You gotta like, I know you're giving a very specific example, and I'm
Yeah.
creating it more general right now. I think it's sometimes you do kind of have to sacrifice for the squad, at times. You can't solely be your petty and stubborn self 24/7. You gotta be able to,
No, I agree.
you
I'm
gotta
trying to
like put
work
that
on
shit
it.
on the wayside.
Yeah, I really like the whole like fucking like do shit for like the internal and then like get supplemented by the external. Honestly, I mean, yo, that's why creative shit is so fire. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you do creative shit because like, yo, like I mean, like Lucky, yeah, you making beats and shit, right? Like, yo, you feeling yourself like, yo, this shit is fire, this shit's fire. But then yeah, you get supplemented by like that external, like, yo, that shit's actually hard, right? Same thing, like when we edit a picture, right? Like, yo, damn, like you feeling yourself, you looking good, like you're editing a picture, and then like you already satisfy your needs. So then that like additional, and then when like people like compliment, oh like, yo, that this is dope, like you're doing crazy shit, like that is it's such a beautiful like
It's a double-edged sword
mixture.
though. It's a double-edged sword though, because like KB liked it while my other friend didn't like it. Then it kind of teetered my internal validation then. So it's just like how big of
No, that's a
like
good
your
point though.
It's
like
your
how
it's your
big.
first beat, bro. That was pretty
No,
dope.
no, 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 no.
That's
I'm
true
no, no,
because
no, no. I'm just
but
using this as an example.
with something creative, like how much critical advice should we take from other people about our craft?
See, okay. I think okay, everyone perceives art and like other creative shit differently, right? So
Yeah.
obviously take the good, take the bad, but like you can't take the bad to where you're thinking negative thoughts about and kind of like reconsidering like how you feel about, you know, your piece. Like if you feel fulfilled, that's fine, right? Not everyone's going to perceive what you did the same, and you should be able to accept that, right? Do you like Lucky, like for
Yeah.
your for example, you listen to music, you think some shit's hot trash, and I fucking like it, you know what I'm saying? When people say that about like whatever your beats, whatever you're making, you should know like not everyone's gonna think it's like hot or if it's, you know, trash. I
I
don't know.
think it goes back to the idea of being
Right.
accepted though. Like everyone wants to feel accepted, and when you see some pushback of not being accepted, it fucking hurts. Like it but then it just goes back to the whole idea of where you kind of don't have yourself figured out, and that's a long-winded process, and some people are lucky enough, like, you know, KV, like yourself and like Kanye, where they kind of figured themselves out early on, and I think that like kind of helps them propel to a bigger stage in life and shit like that. Only because some people don't like, it's hard for people to like kind of figure themselves out because we're already like complex as it is. And what I was saying, like, it's hard to be real with yourself because that shit, it's like fucking mentally draining to be real with yourself
Yeah.
like 24/7.
And it's also
And
like very hard for me to like understand your perspective right now too, because I like do kind of have that figured out. You know what I'm saying?
it's like for you, like I think it's just like the pros and cons of it for you, like kind of being in the mindset that you are, where you're like kind of stubborn and petty. You're very confident in your own little realm, but
Very.
but then it hard it's but the drawback is you become very close-minded, and I think a lot of people
I
will
agree.
take that as like a knock on your personality or
Yeah.
the way of you carry your life, because if you're very close-minded, you're only going to attract certain type of people and not as like, and maybe you're okay with that, where you're okay with like pushing certain people, like you don't give a fuck about having to, you know, having getting this person to like you, or you know, that type of shit.
Yeah.
But I think that's like my what I would like if I was like kind of like psychoanalyzing your personality. I think
Yeah.
that would be the drawback, where you're very close-minded in certain situations where you can't afford to be close-minded.
Yeah.
You are close-minded, and that's like looks negative on you.
No, I agree. I mean, it's always like, so it's like the double-edged sword thing, right? Having this type of personality, whatever, is double-edged. Having your type of personality is double-edged. Like, there's goods and bads to everything. Not everyone's perfect, but at the end of the day, like everyone's just trying to work on themselves. You know, trying to be a better version of themselves than they were yesterday.
Yo, I gotta like hop off because
Lucky,
I gotta.
you should have been like a therapist or like a sociologist, man. I
That's
feel
what I
like
was saying, yo.
you're
Like, I wish
very
I
level-headed
fucking
when you
didn't. I
analyze
wish I
people.
fucking double majored in sociology and psychology. That shit was like, that shit is so intriguing to me, and like, and I like, I I wish like I feel like I would have helped had my I would have been further along in life early on, like kind of like being in terms with myself, and like kind of enjoyed like my early 20s a bit more, because I feel like that type of subject matter kind of makes you critically think. And like when we're doing routine science, you don't fucking critically think. You're learning to follow fucking directions, and you're learning to be programmed a
Yeah,
certain way.
yeah.
And I just like slowly like in the past couple of years and starting to realize like how terrible that was for my mindset and my personality, and like trying to undo like 24 years of programming is like very fucking hard, because like the most impressionable you are is when you're little, when you don't have all of the world figured out, and you kind of like slowly get pulled into one direction. But like when you're in 26 and 27, have all these responsibilities, have all these like things that pull you in one direction, it's hard to change your way of thinking, because it's like what I was saying, it's very mentally draining, and most of us can't afford to be mentally drained because we have day-to-day like
Twice,
responsibilities,
yeah.
9 to 5. So I don't know.
Thanks for tuning in. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify at Brown Boy Chronicles. Feel free to email us with any questions or topics you would like us to discuss in future episodes. The email is brownboychronicles1@gmail.com. All right, see you next time.